I can't believe this. Dude, seriously, I cannot describe how excited I am to be here. This is absolutely amazing. I understand that this is just the start of my career, but to see everybody in this room come out and celebrate this huge milestone is absolutely nuts. So seriously, round of applause to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. A little bit about myself. Joined the business a little later. So I had a couple careers before this. Did 7 years in the U.S. Army. Timing is everything in life, right? So I joined the Army 3 weeks before 9/11. Yeah, right? Because of that, did a couple tours, went over to Iraq, went over to Afghanistan. The Army really set me up for my life. Before the Army, really the only thing I was good at was waiting tables and drinking beer. I'm still good at one of those things, by the way. I'll let you figure out. So yeah, there we go. Coors or Miller. I'm not picking anymore. Diversify, right? The Army set me up. It gave me structure, and it made me be able to bond with people. The Army's a real diverse crowd, just like this office, right? So being able to hang out with people that I normally wouldn't have kind of set me up for success. So I was really excited about the Army. I did 2 enlistments, total of 7 years. Shortly after that, I decided it was time to get out. The main reason I did that, if you look at the Army, you have somebody at the rank of E5, right, sergeant. And if they have 14 years in, and you're an E5 with 3 years in, then they outrank you because they have more time and grade. And I never really got that because I did it in 3 years. That means I'm better. So why do you outrank me because you've been stuck at the same level for 12 years? So the logic of it didn't really make much sense to me. Plus, you have to run. I mean, that's awful. And like push-ups, are you kidding? But I liked everything. I liked all the other parts of the Army. So I became a government contractor right after that, which government contracting is amazing. So you get paid more. There's no running, which again, awesome. You can still drink just as much because everybody that's a contractor used to be in the Army. So you still get that same camaraderie. So I started off entry level at the age of 26, making massive amounts of money, like seriously insane amounts of money. I started off making $48,000 a year, which had, why is everyone laughing? Like that's huge, right? Or at least I thought it was at the time. You know, 26 years old, like I thought I made it. You know, yeah, look at me, $48,000 a year. Funny story, actually. It was around that time that I got shown the business or told about the business, this business, and I turned it down because, you know, I'm making 48 grand a year, man. I'm good. So either way, in a few short months, I started off as a subject matter expert. Now, what a subject matter expert is there's somebody that a company hires because they don't know anything about your field, and my field was unmanned aircraft. So it was a temporary job. And I knew it was temporary. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to solidify myself and make myself a piece of that puzzle. I went outside of my normal duty and I created a program from nothing. Just looking at the aviation and the ground program, I created an unmanned aircraft program. Got us our first contract less than 6 months into the business, and was handsomely rewarded with a phenomenal raise. Right, so from 48, I went to 52,000. So now I'm balling, right? You know, I just bought a 10-year-old Mustang. You know, financed it, obviously. But yeah, so now I'm rolling it. You know, got promoted up to weapons systems analyst, which I still think to this day was a title they just created to shut me up because I don't want to be a subject matter expert. Hired on 5 people. And with us, me and these 5 people, we, again, expanded the program. And we created more. To make this story short, because it's a little boring, I got up to 20 people on my program within 2.5 years, right? And in the civilian sector, that's incredible. To take something from nothing and have 20 whole people on your program. Looking back on that and seeing this, like, holy shit. 20 people, it took me 2.5 years. Like, okay, I fucked up. So either way, I was living out in Arizona. I'm not sure if anybody knows. I do have children. I have 4 kids, 4 beautiful kids. Alyssa's the oldest. She's 13. I have a 12-year-old daughter, Isabella. I have a 10-year-old daughter, Mackenzie. And then I finally had a son. So we got that one. There's a little bit of argument on the name, but yeah, Levi is what we went with. I wanted to go with Kent, because then his name would be Kent Clark, and I just think that would be cool as shit. I got trumped on that one. So yeah, we were living in Arizona. We were about 10 miles from the Mexican border, and the public education out there was just awful. And everything I've done in my life, including joining the Army, I've done for my children. I did it to try to leverage myself into a better situation to where I could provide them a life that I wasn't really provided growing up. So I made a really tough decision, and I went over to Iraq again, and this was the 3rd time I've been overseas. Throughout my 20s, I spent a combined 3.5 years between Iraq and Afghanistan, and the 14 months as a contractor was all voluntary. And the whole reason I wanted to do that was, again, I wanted to provide a better life for my kids. I wanted to move them back to the East Coast. I grew up in Connecticut, love the East Coast, the education's great out there, I had family out there, and I wanted to do better for my kids. Also, I was starting to get tired of my job. So I had this great plan. I went overseas, and for 14 months, and I don't know if you guys know this, contractors overseas, they make actual money, like not even kidding now. So they get paid anywhere between $250,000 and $300,000 a year. So I was making 280 grand a year over there. Right? Now I'm thinking, all right, 280 grand a year, like I don't ever have to work again a day in my life. You know, that's big, big money, right? So I went overseas, moved my family, and the goal was to move them, take that money, and invest into a business. Because I wanted to be my own business owner. Like I wanted to do it myself. My father was his own business owner. He owned an auto body shop. And I always admired that. And so I was going to come back, and I was going to buy a Dunkin' Donuts, right? And again, if anybody knows me, it just makes sense, right? I'm not sure if it was because I wanted to be a business owner or just because I wanted to drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee every day. In my mind, there is no other coffee besides Dunkin' Donuts. But it made sense too, because if you did the research on it, it's one of the most successful franchises. They have an incredible rate of success and the least amount of closings in the first 3 years. So that was my goal. While I was over there for 14 months, I was performing 2 functions. I was still doing my normal job, which was collecting and analyzing data on UAVs so we could produce reports for the government, show them cost, tell them how many people they need to sustain the system, and either way I was doing that, and I was also managing my team. Well, while I was over there, I started growing my team even more. And after the 14 months, I came back. I had a long conversation with my boss. He knew my plan. It was, you know, to go over there, make some money, open my business. And he's like, Josh, he's like, so we're leveraging a contract right now, and it's going to be big, and it's all due to your work. What we would like from you is we would like to promote you to assistant program manager, and we want to move you to Maryland. And you can work 2 days a week out of Aberdeen Proving Grounds and 3 days a week out of the Pentagon. Yeah. So like I am super pumped about that. Like now it's like, okay, well, I wanted to move to the East Coast anyways, right? And now I don't have to worry about opening my own business, and this is just easy because I'm already doing it, and they're offering me 6 figures to do so. So now I think I like actually made it, you know. And I'm looking back at myself, making fun of myself for 48 grand and 52 grand. They offered me $110,000 to move to Maryland with a $20,000 moving bonus. So I was like, oh, that's phenomenally easy. Like, yes, I'm a yes. So I moved to Maryland. I worked there for a while, and I was on top of the world. I was working hard. I had to work 40 hours a week, but I was working 60. I was working 70. And it wasn't because I was trying to accomplish things. It was because like I just lost track of time. Like I was having so much fun doing what I was doing, and I felt a sense of pride because I was the most accomplished person in my family at that point in time. And I started working hard, and I went out and I started winning more contracts. And then I had an eye-opening experience because I won a contract in excess of $20 million for my company. And I am getting super excited because another one of the program managers similarly won a different contract for about $8 million. Now, he received a $25,000 bonus. So I'm thinking, holy shit, like I'm gonna get 100 grand. Like this is on, you know, I am super pumped. I got 1,500 bucks. And I walked into my boss's office, and again, I used to wait tables, and I looked at him in the eye, and I'm like, Bob, you just left me a 3-cent tip. You know that, right? And he's like, what do you mean 3-cent tip? And I'm like, well, I used to wait tables. And I'm like, and the worst thing you could do to a waiter is leave a 3-cent tip. Because when you leave a 3-cent tip, you're saying, fuck you, you're a dickhead. Like that's it, you know? I know I'm supposed to tip you, but I don't like you. Here's 3 cents. I'm like, I would have preferred no bonus to this. So I was like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out. And he talked a little bit, he captured me before I left the office, and he offered me a $30,000 a year job, or yeah, $30,000 a year more to stay. So I went home, I thought about that, and I'm like, all right, cool. So now I'm making 140 grand a year. Yeah, it sucks that I didn't get the big bonus, but you know, I have kids, I have a mortgage. I was driving a car that was obviously compensation for something. It was a Mercedes S550, you know. So either way, and I needed the money. So I thought it through and I stayed. I worked there over the course of the next year and a half, and I would talk to my friends, and I lost that excitement level. There was actually, has anyone seen Office Space in here? Yeah? I was that guy. Like, I figured out some kind of way, because we opened a second office. We had one in Belcamp, Maryland, one in Aberdeen, Maryland, and then we had the Pentagon. And I figured out a way that if I would drive to Aberdeen in the morning, I would sit in the office for a half an hour, make sure everybody saw me, I would say hi to everybody, and then I would leave, go to the Belcamp office, do the same exact thing for a half an hour, and then I would go home. And that way, if anybody asked where I was, the Belcamp people would say, oh, he's in Aberdeen, and the Aberdeen people would say, oh, he's in Belcamp. And then I just did nothing. And like, I managed to do this for like 2 months, right? And it sounds cool, right? Like, I'm not working anymore, and I'm making a shit ton of money for doing nothing. But I felt terrible about it, because I lost that drive, I lost that passion. The final straw in January of last year, 2015, government sequestration happened, and they had to start doing cutbacks. And I had over 100 people in my program. Now, the people that I hired were military friends, relatives of friends. I personally knew probably about 70 of them from some sort of fashion in my life. And my boss calls me in, and I had to fire half of them. Now, because we worked for the Pentagon, and because we worked with sensitive information, I had to fire half of them on Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No notice, no anything, just, hey man, I'm so sorry, thanks for your time, good luck. And that's tough as a person to do that to another person. But like, picture yourself trying to do that to your best friend, to people that you knew, to people that I spent a year of my life with overseas, like in the middle of a desert, wearing body armor, like dealing with roadside bombs and people shooting at you. And in the military, it's a brotherhood. So I had to lay off my brothers, and it was a terrible thing. But I'm still gonna look after myself because I need to survive. So I think that that's done. Well, 2 months later, I had to lay off the rest of the people on my program. And my boss told me, what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay off everybody on your program, and we're gonna keep you around as a consultant, and then we should get funding back by August, and we'll restart the program. He told me this Friday morning at 10 o'clock. I laid off everybody on my program by 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and then at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I got my pay slip. So he just said what he had to say to keep me happy. And they stripped my security clearance, they walked me out like a criminal with a box of my stuff. And it felt terrible having no control of my life. When you go to college and when you're setting yourself up for your future, you think like that's what it's all about, right? Getting that secure job. And that's what's hammered into us. Go to college, get a job, get benefits, 401k, 3 weeks paid vacation, 4 weeks paid vacation, whatever. And like that's security that we're looking for. And I had that. But then it was all just taken from me. Not because I wasn't performing, not because I wasn't generating money, but because the government said so. So having that lack of control really, really got to me. The good thing about that is the contract that I won for them, I wrote it in that I had to be on the contract or they lose it. So I'm a little, yeah, I don't know about smart, but yeah. So it was a little protection to myself. So what they had to do was they gave me a 6-month severance, which means they paid me to do nothing for 6 months. Now keep in mind, I've already been doing this for 6 months. So like, I pretty much worked a year, you know, or didn't work, but yeah, I got paid for a year of doing nothing. So they gave me the 6-month severance, but the same thing applied. He's like, Josh, we're getting funding in August. We're gonna pull you back up. There was no, pardon my language, there's no fucking way I was ever going back to that job. Like, even with it, even with a raise, like, I just wasn't doing that anymore. So I did what any responsible adult with a mortgage and 4 kids would do. And I took 4 months off and did absolutely nothing. And I worked on my cars and I took vacations and I was planning my future. And now my future, again, I wanted to be a business owner. I was going to buy a Dunkin' Donuts. Well, I already spent all that money for my rent, right? Put a down payment on my house. I had, again, I had a Chevy Suburban LTZ, I had a Mercedes S550, I had a Mustang. Like, my car payments and my mortgage payment was about the same, you know, just because I was so concerned with that image and, like, wanted to, you know, keep that up. If anybody know me now, like, you understand I'm not concerned with that image anymore. I drive that baby blue brand marquee outside. It's like driving a couch. It's amazing. So, either way, I took those 4 months off. And it was a lot of time researching on the internet, fucking off, and I was going to open a bar. This is now my goal, which, again, makes sense, because if you know me, it was probably, one, I wanted to own a business, but like I think that was secondary to the unlimited supply of Miller Lite that I could get for myself, and have a job where you could drink while you work. Like, that is just, yeah, sign me up. So, and really shortly, that still is one of my goals. I'm definitely going to own a bar. But this time it's going to be just for the free beer, and I don't have to worry if it makes any money. So I just think it's going to be cool, you know? I mean, what guy in his mid-30s doesn't want a bar? So that was my plan. And it was never, I never did any research on it. Like, I just had this, like, generic idea of how I would open a bar. But I had no money. So I want to open a business. I want to open a bar. I have no money. My credit's getting shot because I'm way overextended on everything. So what do? Well, you call the friend with the most amount of money and you get them excited about it, right? So I called my buddy who happens to have enough cash, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna open a fucking bar, man. Let's do this. And he's like, cool, tell me all about it. I'm like, it's gonna be great. There's gonna be beer and arcade machines, and there's gonna be a bar. And he's like, cool, what's the business plan? And I'm like, to have a bar. He's like, cool, where's it gonna be? I'm like, Connecticut, yeah, we're gonna put it in Connecticut next to Yale. Like, it's gonna be amazing. Like, I'm looking at places for rent and shit, and like, he's like, cool, well, how much do you need? Like, 20, 30, 40,000? I'm like, yeah, man, like 350,000. It's amazing, you know? And he's like, well, how much profit is this gonna make? And I'm like, dude, easily $45,000, $50,000 a year. And he's like, you really need to think about that one. So we talked about it for a little bit, and you know, he kind of talked me out of that. And I find it so fitting that the promotion speech is happening in Chicago, because it was in Chicago that I finally decided to join this business. Any Grateful Dead fans in here? Woo! Like 5, and a bunch of looks from anybody under the age of 24 that has no fucking clue who the Grateful Dead is. Dude, it's like a dead, man, do your research. Seriously, best band ever. So the Grateful Dead put on a concert at Soldier Field, and it was the first time since 1995 that they played together on the same stage. So tickets were outrageous, right? So just like I wanted to open a bar, I also wanted to go see this concert. So what do you do when you have no money and you want to go do something?
The rich friend.
You get your friend excited to go do that with you, right? So I indirectly set it up. And I'm like, hey, Justin, the Grateful Dead are playing. I sent him this email. And I'm like, they're playing in Chicago. How awesome would that be? And he's like, yeah, it's fantastic. And he's like, hey, did you look at ticket prices? And I'm like, no. No, I didn't. And he's like, well, it's pretty expensive. I'm like, oh man, it would have been great if we could have gone. Man, it would remind us of high school. Oh, do you remember when we went to this show? Do you remember when we went to this show? And he's like, yeah, you're right. We got to go to this. I'll pay for your ticket. And I'm like, fucking jackpot. So I drove up to New York, and it was actually a surreal moment because it was a 3-day concert, and Justin's apartment overlooked the Empire State Building, and we were watching the day 2 of the concert out his window, looking at the Empire State Building, and we're watching the concert on TV, and on TV they also had the Empire State Building because Grateful Dead was playing Empire Blues, and it was the light show on the Empire State Building was being broadcast in Chicago, but we're watching it out the window, and it was like one of those standing in between two mirrors moments, you know. So the next day we go out there, and we fly out to Chicago, and he upgrades us to first class because it was like pretty much free for him. For me, it was ridiculous. It was like $300 extra a ticket. He's like, I've never seen it this cheap. We were definitely flying first class. And I'm like, I'm not gonna argue. So we fly out here, and we're talking the day of the concert, before the concert, during the concert, after the concert, and he's like indirectly making me feel stupid. And I knew he was doing it because he's like, all right, tell me about this bar and tell me how successful it's going to be and what are we going to do and how much do you need from me? And he never said like, no, you're stupid, we're not going to do that. He was like supportive the whole time. And he's like, yeah, whatever you need, just make it a good plan. And we're talking and we get about halfway through the show and it just clicked. And it's like, fuck, I've done everything myself my whole life. And now I'm like relying on somebody else's success to be a business owner. And the person's success I was relying on owned his own fucking business. And he did it himself. And it didn't cost him anything. It cost him like a few months of hard fucking work, which really isn't all that hard to begin with anyways. It's taking a bunch of no's. I mean, fuck, look at me. Do you know how many no's I've taken in a bar? Like, thank you. I am excellent at taking notes. So I decided to join the business, right? And I made this decision in I think it was either June or July of last year. But I made the decision, and I wasn't going to start right away. So I made the decision, and he's like, okay, before you jump in, why don't you just come to New York, check it out for a little while, check it out for like a day or two, and then decide. So in August, I went to New York, went out on, I guess you'd say a day of observation with Obi, which the guy's fucking nuts, by the way. We're like running through the streets of New York in suits, banging on doors, breaking into apartment buildings, and I was just a yes, you know. I'm just like, and I had to be a yes because my 6-month severance is over in like 2 weeks. So it's like, all right, this was the plan I made 2 months ago, and I have to follow through with it now because if I don't, like, I'm just homeless. So I tried it out, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to do that. And then I went out on a different campaign, he was like, well, which campaign do you want? And I'm like, I really don't care. What do you think I should do? And he's like, well, go home, spend 2 weeks with your kids, come back up. So I went home, spent a couple weeks with my children, said my goodbyes, left my car in Maryland because having a car in New York City is just awful. Got on a train, went up to New York, and I'm ready to go. And I'm going to start the next day, and I'm going to start the next day at my great life of being a door-to-door salesman. And I am fucking stoked at 35 years old to go be a door-to-door salesman. Well, plans changed really quick, and it was for the better. Within 20 minutes of being there, Justin's like, I know you want to be in New York, so it's close to Maryland. He's like, but we got this guy Gavin down in Miami. Let me tell you all about him. And he showed me how much money he was making, and he showed me how much his reps were making, and like, you could see him like building up to it to try to get me to say yes to it, but I was already a yes. Like, I was like, as soon as he said Miami, I'm like, yeah, definitely. I want to go to Miami. Yeah, let's do that. I don't have to buy my own plane ticket, right? Because I can't afford it. And he's like, yeah, I got it. So, went down to Miami, and that's where I got my start in the business. I was down there for 6 weeks, and the first couple days were rough. I'm not gonna lie. Getting over myself enough to stop people in a Walmart and asking them about cable was really fucking tough. Like it was just weird. Like and the environment down there was weird. It was nothing like the Pentagon. Yeah, we don't do this at the Pentagon. But after a couple days, I picked it up really quick, and I was absolutely killing it. And after 6 weeks, I was selected to go to Atlanta and assist in opening that office and train an expansion crew that came down from New York. So I went up to Atlanta, spent from October till about April there. And I'm not gonna lie, like the first 4 months for me were so fucking easy, like incredibly easy. Like I knew the field, and I could kill the field, and I was getting paid, like really fucking well, and I could recruit people. I could take them on observations. I think that's kind of the benefit of being an old guy in this. Is like people just think you're more important than you are just because you have some gray hair. So, I mean, you use what you do and you run with it. You know, I mean, this is the first time I've ever relied on my looks for anything. And I was great at retraining, and I could train people, and I could take anybody and train them how to sell Xfinity in a fucking Walmart. Like, you should have seen my crew. Like, I had this dude who was like 6'9" and was the softest guy in the world and was scared to talk to people because he would scare them away. And I had people that like barely spoke English. And but these are my crew, and these are the people getting me to management. So the first 4 months were really fucking easy. And unfortunately, I got a bit complacent. I wasn't quite doing the correct actions. I was really good at everything except for networking and crew management. I was terrible at that. And it was actually so bad that I built a crew to 19 people and lost 10 of them around Christmas. And then I rebuilt, and then lost, and then rebuilt, and then lost. And I was just doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting it to change. Because like, it's not my fault. No, it was, all right, no, it's these people's fault. Like I'm not finding the right people. And it wasn't until I got a chance to come up here on a road trip in February, and I got a chance to sit down with Matt Goodchild for a bit, and he kind of laid it out for me, and he kind of showed me what I was doing wrong, and I was really excited, and I went back to Atlanta like just ready to hit that reset button, like, all right, cool, we're just gonna hit that reset button, we're gonna do it all over again, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. And I was down there for a couple weeks, and I started fixing my mistakes. I knew where my shortcomings were, and I started networking more, and I got a little more humble. I understood that, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm the best in the office at sales or recruiting, or, you know, I need to branch out and find that thing that I'm struggling with and attack that. So I got a chance to come up here on another road trip in March, and this time now Toph had opened the office. And I walk in the office, and I see that sign, that F.A.S.T global sign, like hanging up on the wall. And it's funny that he touched on it. It was a surreal moment for me, because I walk in and I look at that sign, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, you actually fucking did it, man. And I remember being 3 weeks in the business, just coming back from my first road trip to West Palm Beach.
Oh, yes.
Set records, absolutely killed it, to say. So my first road trip, we're sitting out, and we're drinking beer. And he's doodling this thing on a napkin, and I'm like, what's that, man? And he's like, that's my company logo. And like, this thing was hideous, by the way. Like, if anyone's seen Toph draw, like, you can't. So it's this like stick figure thing, right? With like some weird lines behind it. Like, I think it was trying to run away from itself because it was like scared. And it was holding this thing. It was supposed to be a briefcase. I thought it was like a deformed hand. And like, he wrote some letters above it, and like, even those were illegible. I'm like, what's waste? And he's like, no, it's fast. And I'm like, oh, cool. So to see this on his wall, which was obviously drawn by somebody else, it was surreal. So I just knew at that moment, like, I needed to come up here, and I needed to hit the restart button, and I needed to do it right, and I needed to do it my way. But my way was the way that everybody else did it and has been telling me to do it, because it's fucking copy and paste, right? So I got that opportunity, and I came up here, and it only took 3.5 months. And it's fucking amazing that in 3.5 months, you could do it all if you just do it right. And it's like, fuck, I mean, I'm not mad about the time that I spent in Atlanta. I'm not mad about the time that I spent in Miami. It was all building tools, and it set the foundation for being able to do this up here. And I appreciate everybody's help that helped me out with that in every location. But yeah, now I'm here. Juggernaut's absolutely killing it. So thanks, Jugs.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop,
whoop.
There we go.
Whoop, whoop.
But at the end of the day, I understand that it's not what I did. It's what I was able to do with the help of so many people. And I do want to give a shout out, some quick thanks. And I know I'm going to miss people because there's just way too many people that helped me out along the way. But first and foremost, definitely thanks to everyone in Mac Collective and F.A.S.T Global Marketing. You guys helped me out big time. And it's amazing, actually. I was out in the field like last week with Tim. And on his Retrain 2, he taught me a different way to stop people that's more effective than what I've been doing for the past 10 months. So it's like, holy shit, like you can learn something from everybody, you know? So that was really cool. Definitely couldn't do it without all the leaders helping out. I want to give a big thanks to Obi. I know he's not here, but Obi is the one that really got me excited about the business. Taught me how to break into apartment buildings and tell people that said they didn't speak English that I was here to shut off their electric. Loads of fun. You know, I mean, if there's a roadblock, like some people are good at like meandering around it. Like Obi just like gets down and like powers through it. It's amazing. So yeah, big thanks to Obi. Nina, also, who's not here. Nina is the one that originally trained me for the first few days down in Miami, and she didn't just train me in the field. I had the opportunity to stay with her and Toph and Gavin, and she would stay up to me, with me until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, going over how to retrain people and going over how to write an impact and all the office stuff. And also not judging me for wanting to drink strawberry daiquiris instead of, you know, whiskey, because whiskey's disgusting and I like strawberries. Yeah, so big thanks to Nina. Paul, huge thanks to Paul. Paul is always available to sit down, and it's never been a scheduled thing. Like, I've never had to schedule a sit down with Paul. It's, hey man, do you have 5 minutes? Here's a conversation I want to have with my crew. How would you have it? And he'd be like, oh, man, I do X, Y, Z. This is what Sagar told me 6 months ago he would do. That's where I learned it. Run it by Toph. You know, so he was always there to help out for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. He was just always around. Rizzy, man, holy shit, dude. We fucking did it, right? I love that this is the start of it. Everybody always talks about having a running buddy, and everybody always talks about that competition. Well, Rizzy was my competition, and I built a crew here on like one motto, and it was kick Rizzy's ass. That was like the whole focus of our crew was seriously, like, these guys are not, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna beat him at everything. Like, okay, well, he beat us at sales, let's be louder than him, you know. So having Rizzy as a running buddy. And it was cool, and I know Rizzy told the story a couple weeks ago, but so I met Rizzy on his day of observation. It was my last day in Miami. We went out to Barracuda for some beer and some wings, and he was kind of cocky, and I don't really know how to take this guy. And I was leaving, and I just wanted to hang out with Toph, and Toph brings this guy. And so like for the first 20 minutes, I'm like trying to ignore him and talk to Toph. But then he finds out that he likes the Patriots, and I'm like, okay, so obviously he's smart. So we talked about that for quite a while. There you go. We talked about that for quite a while. We bonded, and we found out that we had similar backgrounds. So where we came from successful careers, and he said something to me that day that just resonated, and I stole it, and I've been plagiarizing it as my own. And don't sue me, I know you're right. But he's like, I'm like, so what's your motivation? Why are you doing this? And he's like, I don't want to be 100,000 error for the rest of my life. And I'm like, holy shit, that's a great way to put that. You know, I've been saying the same thing, but it took me like 6 sentences to say it. So yeah, man, big thanks. You really drove me when I got here. At any moment that like I thought I was taking my foot off the gas pedal, like you would go to pass, so I had to put it back on. So like having that running buddy is absolutely huge. Yeah, Sagar, huge thanks, man. the first time I met Sagar was actually really cool. It was 6 months before I decided to join the business. It was March 14th, I believe, 2015. He just flew over, and I just met this guy, and Justin was telling me all about him, and we're sleeping in Justin's penthouse, fucking ridiculous apartment on air mattresses with sleeping bags because there was no furniture in there yet. They had a bottle of whiskey. I left because, again, I don't like whiskey. I like beers and strawberries. So they had a bottle of, like, I don't know, $400 or $500 whiskey, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go get some Miller Lite. Yeah, we stayed up and we got a chance to bullshit, and ever since then too, like he's always available. He's always made himself available. Huge motivating force. You know, it's good to be able to relate and be like, all right, so you're old too. How did you do it? It's always a great source of information and a great inspiration. Gavin, man, holy shit. Gavin was like, I came in and I thought I was excited, and then there's this guy here, like, you know, that just looks like Mr. Peanut with a red head, like bouncing all over fucking atmosphere. No, there we go. Bouncing all over atmosphere with like a level of excitement I didn't know existed. And he just motivated the shit out of me. If anybody, if you have the time, like, grab Gavin. He's constantly talking big picture, and he's one of those guys. He's just sincere. He's in it for all the right reasons. And yeah, he's in it because he likes living like a playboy and he loves spending all his money. But like, his main motivation is like his family and like all the things that I'm in this for too. And being able to sit down and relate to him, and going to Miami and having the chance to spend those 6 weeks living with you, like, really set me up for the most amount of success possible. You're always available for me. I remember there was one night, I had my first retrain coming in the next day. And Toph and Nina are like writing impacts and doing some other things, so I didn't want to bug them. So I grabbed a 6-pack and I put a beer in front of Gavin. And I'm like, you want a beer? And he's like, yeah, cool. I'm like, cool. And then I like grabbed my notebook out. I'm like, so I have a retrain 1 tomorrow. And you know, I was trying to be real assumptive because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. He's tired. He's like falling asleep on the couch. And he ended up staying up an extra 2 hours with me and like just going over everything I needed to do. And it wasn't even just like going over everything I needed to do. Like, okay, here's how you retrain somebody. Here's how you retrain somebody. He found out what I was nervous about, and he was able to ease that. And he's like, just be yourself, you know, and do it this way. Like, his advice is always on point, and it was always what I needed to hear. Whether I wanted to hear it or whether I didn't, it was always what I needed to hear. So, Gavin, I mean, it seriously set me up for the most amount of success in those first 6 weeks. I didn't know that somebody could have that much of an impact on somebody in 6 weeks. Toph, man, dude, seriously, my best friend in the business. That road trip 2 weeks in was just insane. We found that wing place, and me and him would go 2, 3, 4 nights a week, and we would constantly talk big picture, and then giving me the opportunity to come up to his office and coaching me nonstop, and always being there for me, and listening to me whine, listening to me neg out every now and then telling me not to, and making fun of me for it. Like, Toph is no BS. He straight up, if you want some advice, he's going to give you advice, and it's going to be the right answer. And finally, like, there's no way I would be here at all without Justin. And my biggest thanks goes to Justin. I'm not sure, I know some of you guys know this. Justin's my oldest friend in the world. We've been friends for over 20 years now. We grew up about 1.5 miles away from each other, and we did tons of stupid shit. And I'm sorry, you know what?
Have a great day.
Yeah. we did tons of stupid shit, and he was actually always the voice of reason, but he was always down for whatever. I remember, like, there was one time I was like, you know, I want to live in Arizona, and he's like, okay, cool. When do we want to leave? And I'm like, tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, cool. And he's like making plans to go to Arizona. Like, he was just ready to drop and go to Arizona. And we were gonna live out there and like do something. It never happened, obviously. But yeah, he would stay up with me until 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. When I was at my lowest of low, he was always there to pick me up. And when I was at my highest of high, he was always there to knock me down a couple things. So seriously, there is no better friend than I've had ever. And I should have listened to you in 2005 when you told me to come in. And I should have listened to you in 2007 when you told me to come in. And I should have listened to you in 2008 when you told me to come in. And then I just watched you make all this fucking money and spend a lot of it on me and indirectly impact me by flying me over to Europe. And like, I still think to this day, like you're planting that seed. But seriously, thank you for doing that. And thank you for allowing me this opportunity. And thank you also for letting me do it and accomplish this and always being available for me. And it's a weird dynamic because like I didn't know where like the line was, and I'm on this road trip and I'm learning company history like 2 weeks in, and the company history being taught to me is, okay, so Justin Cobb started the business in 1991, and I'm like, no, he didn't. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, he did. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I just got promoted to corporate trainer. And he's like, no, how the hell would you know that? And I'm like, because he was 11, he was playing t-ball. Like, I know this, like he didn't. So I'm like texting Justin, and I'm like, hey, should I say something, or like, you know, what should I do? And I was trying not to rely on him for information for the first couple months. And I think it was out of pride, and I think it was out of like, I don't want to be that guy because I have that access. But then after 2 months, I'm like, you know what? No, fuck this. I'm going to use every advantage that I have, and I'm going to reach out to him as much as possible. And I remember him getting mad at me. We were down in Atlanta, and I was like, hey man, what are you doing tonight? And he's like, I'm actually free. I'm like, you want to grab some beer? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And we get to the restaurant, and he's just bullshitting, and then I grab my notebook, and I put it on the table, and he's like, are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, okay. We're going to make this 50-50. We'll talk, and then we can network. And I'm like, all right, cool. But yeah, see, I do not have a better friend on the face of the earth. You've always been there for me. You were there for me when I was having stupid ideas about opening bars. You were at my wedding. This is, when I got back from Iraq, he was always that guy that would make time. And even if he didn't have time, he would figure out a way. And the most spontaneous guy you'd ever meet. And just, dude, I fucking love you, man. And thank you so much for all this. Finally, this business isn't something that we can do on our own. And I think that was the biggest realization that I had. So I would not be standing here right now without my crew, the Juggernauts.
Juggernauts!
So I do want to end this on a thank you to them for just coming in and seeing the big picture and going outside and networking and learning and driving me, because it was you guys that drove me. And seriously, we have the best fucking crew, right? Like, we're the best looking. I think, at least. So I do want to end this on my thanks with the Juggernauts, and we're gonna end it on our chant that got banned from The Office. We're gonna do it one more time. So to wrap this up, who are we?
The Juggernauts, bitch!
All right, thanks a lot, everyone.
Can you raise the roof one more time for Josh, you guys?
Yeah!
Something that we do, that we started in our org is when you get promoted to management, you're officially part of the team now, and Josh Clark is officially part of the team, guys. We put him in this jersey now. And now Josh will be incorporated, have his own office. And we will compete from now on, like we always do. But he's gonna run a phenomenal office now because he's his own boss now. So he's going to go boss Washington, I guess. So we're about to for Josh. Yeah. I know that you guys have to feel super hard and go to exactly what Josh has done and Rizzy has in the last couple of weeks in his business. But I think you can remember standing over there, Josh. You were standing right over there, looking at Rizzy doing his speech, and you're like, my moment's gonna come. And if you're standing out there, your moment will come. And Josh was mentioning how in New York and Miami, he had his ups, he had his downs, and he's absolutely right. Those are his foundations. And we all have moments in the field or in the office where we're at our worst or we're at our best. It's how you humble yourself or how you carry yourself up in the business. But these are your foundations. And one day, a mental click will go on in your head, and you will fly. You will stand in this middle of this room, saying a speech 4 weeks down the line, and Josh and Rizzy and some of you guys will stand in the corner and applaud for you guys. But if you're standing back there, if you're in the front, if you're 5 days in the business, if you're 1 day in the business, if you're 4 weeks in the business, if you're 2 months in the business, nothing can stop you today. It just takes a mental start in this business to do what Josh and Rizzy have done. You had your physical start. You guys are here on a Saturday today. Let's have your fucking mental start. Juice?
Juice!
Have a great day.
Yeah!